right, so we were just talking about how 9 to the 1/2 power, you guys figured out that that's the same thing as the square root of 9. So it's just 3, right? And then I asked you, okay, 16 to the 1/2 power. And you very quickly realized that 1/2 power is the same thing as just square rooting something, right? 100 to the 1/2. Same thing as the square root of 100 or just 10. And then I thought I would trick you, and I said, what's 8 to the 1/3 power? And you so quickly knew what that was. You knew that the answer was 2 because I'm really just doing a cube root of 8 to get 2. So here's how it works, okay? If I have something in exponents, so let's just go back to this 9 to the 1/2 power. Here's what happens. Whatever the denominator is of the fraction, if I want to rewrite it, and so this is exponential form because those are exponents, exponential, and this is called radical form because they have radicals, okay? So we can swap in between the two, and here's how. You take the denominator, whatever it is, and that swings around and becomes the bird on the perch. Remember that there's really a tiny little 2 there that we never write?
Yes.
When it's a square root? And then what happens with the numerator? That's what I raise the power, well, what I raise the 9 to. So in other words, this is the square root of 9 to the 1st. So when I do the 8 to the 1/3, that's how this swings around and it becomes the cube root of 8 to the 1st. So let's do one where the exponent, or the numerator is not a 1. Say I wanted to do 8 to the 2/3. So the denominator swings around and becomes the bird on the perch. So this is the cube root, but now it's not of 8, it's of 8 squared. So the numerator goes there. But, and this is also a little bit confusing, it actually doesn't matter where you put the exponent. You can put it in there, or you could put it there. And actually, I like this way better because it keeps your numbers smaller. I can do this in my head, right? The cube root of 8 squared. This is trickier because then I have to do 64 and think of its cube root. I can do it, but your numbers are getting big real quick. This is so much easier. So what is my answer here? What is the cube root of 8 squared? 4. So if I were asked to evaluate, that's my answer. So if you look at 36 real quick. They want you to do a to the 5/3 power, and they want you to rewrite that in radical form. So the denominator, what happens to that? That becomes the bird on the perch, the index, right? So I'm really going to do the cube root of a, and then you can either put the 5 exponent here or on the outside. Again, I recommend that you put it on the outside because when you actually go to evaluate, it's much easier to do it that way. So that's it. The denominator, bird on the perch. The numerator is just your exponent. So see if you, oh man, do this one for me. Do 4 to the 2/5 power. Rewrite that in radical form. Okay, you got it? You could have either written this, the 5th root of 4 squared, or you could have written the 5th root of 4 squared.
Oh, I guess what?
Well, keep this going after lunch.